Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome into the Bulls Report. Before we dive into today's show, I got one question that you guys need to answer down in the comment section. Who is the most important player on the Bulls post All-Star break for the rest of the season? Let me know your thoughts down below. With 27 games left on the Bulls schedule, I wanted to dive into the most important players on the Bulls roster for the rest of the season. My name is Patrick Siepman, and welcome into the Bulls Report. So let's start off with this question, I think. What is most important? What is the number one goal? What is the number one thing the Bulls need to accomplish for the rest of the year? You may be saying winning an NBA championship, making the playoffs, making the plan, whatever. I think it's this. I think the Bulls' number one goal for the rest of the year should be developing their young talent, and I kind of wanted to get that out there because it kind of shapes my most important players on the Bulls list. And I think the number one most important player is that guy right there, Coby White. And honestly, I got to admit it, I am starting to have a man crush on Coby White. He's been absolutely balling out as of lately, and he's just really impressed me, man. And I think he's the best player on the Bulls, and I think he is the most important player on the Bulls. I mean, look at his numbers this year already. 19.4 points per game, almost 5 rebounds, 5 assists, incredibly efficient from not only the field overall, but especially from downtown. He has been A1. And listen, you look at these stats right here. He was averaging around 9 points a game last season, which is why he is second in most improved player odds as of right now. I was a little pissed off when I saw this because I didn't think I thought Maxey should have had the number one edge right now, maybe at like plus 150, and then Coby White at maybe plus 220 or something. But I thought it would have been more neck and neck. But instead, Tyrese Maxey, the bookmakers out west have him at minus 170 and Coby White at plus 410. If you guys are in Chicago, make sure you place those bets right now. Coby White plus 410 to win most improved player. But also Sengun at plus 750 and Kuminga plus 850 and then Jalen Williams at plus 1600. But overall, I think Coby White, his development, kind of staying on that track, is the most important player and most important kind of objective for the Bulls for the rest of the season. But number two for me is another young and up-and-coming player for Chicago, and that is Patrick Williams. I was a big fan of Patrick Williams heading into the season. Obviously, he did struggle a lot in the first month of the year, really couldn't shoot from downtown. But, man, as of late, I thought he's been fantastic. And I swear, it's one of those things with Patrick Williams where it's like my eyes don't lie with him. Like every single time I watch him play and he makes a good move, I'm like, that is baby Kawhi Leonard. That is one of the better wing defenders and 3-and-D wings in the entire NBA. I still think he has that potential, and that's why I really want the Bulls to keep him because a 6'7" frame with a 7-foot wingspan and the ability to shoot the three-point ball, man, he is a dream for an NBA GM nowadays. But let's dive into his shot diet right here. Shout out producer Tex as we are looking at his catch and shoot three-point percentage at 38.8. That's fantastic. I mean, especially if that's the end of rotation, end of moving the ball around. You got Patrick Williams, who's not only an elite defender, but he can also knock that down at 38.8%. Give me that any day of the week. His pull-up three-point percentage, though, this season at 50%. This is the biggest shocker when I was diving into this. He only takes about a half a pull-up three per game, but when he does, he shoots it pretty well. I honestly want to see him take a little bit more of those, but free throw line down, also solid, 48.9%. And that pull-up midi, I love this stat. This is actually 10 percentage points better than DeMar DeRozan this season. He is shooting that at almost 45%. Clap it up for Patrick Williams. Oh, he's had a great year, and I think he's just going to continue to develop that. And I will say this, Billy Donovan, whoever's watching for the Bulls, please get this guy more shots in the second half of the season. I want to see him be more of a focal point in this offense. But another guy who should be more of a focal point in the offense in the second half of the year, Chicago's own Dosnmu out of Illinois. And if you guys have watched this channel at all, Dosnmu is one of my favorite players in the league. I thought the Bulls got him on an absolute steal this offseason. And we've heard the comparisons of and Bruce Brown. I think is a way more skilled version than Bruce Brown. If you go look at Dosnmu's game logs over the last 15 games, you would think this is a borderline all-star. You combine that with just his overall great point of attack defense. Like, I really do believe will and, or could be and will be one of the better role players in the league. I think if he is your best guard off the bench, you are a championship contender. I even think you can maybe start him at the one down the road if he just improves his handle a little bit. But these are the three young players for the Bulls that I think need to develop and get the most shots in the second half of the season. Who is the most important Bull out of these three. If you think it's Coby White, give me a CW. If you think it's Patrick Williams, give me a PW. And you think it's Chicago's own Dosnmu, give me an AD down in the comments section. Number 4 for me, Julian Phillips, the second-round pick. And I know you might be saying, oh, he's only averaging a point a game this season. Yeah, I get that. But also, he has flashed in his limited reps. And we have seen the athleticism. If you guys remember, I showed the photo on the channel, I think it was about 2 weeks ago now, when he had that game against the Portland Trailblazers. Julian Phillips is running, goes up two-hand, glasses it. It was absolutely fantastic. And he's shown that athletic kind of breakout potential. Again, just with all these guys, it comes down to more shot attempts. It comes down to higher usage rate. I want him to get more tick over a guy like Dalen Terry. I think we know what Dalen Terry is, but this guy, he has shown me real juice. He's a real athlete. See if the skills come along, see if the winning play comes along. I think he could really be important for the Bulls down the stretch. Now let's kick it to some more, I guess, win now important players for the Bulls, and there's none other more important than Alex Caruso, who, I think his year, I do think he's getting some love around the NBA this season, but I still think he's undervalued and underrated. Listen, producer text before we got on here, he was like, oh, Caruso only averages 10 points a game. I thought it would be way more. And I totally agree with him. If you think of what his value is on the basketball court, you would think this is a 20-point-a-game guy. But if you combine the really good offensive efficiency, plus with him being one of the best point-of-attack defenders in the NBA, in my opinion, the best, he is one of the biggest kind of net positive assets and players you could deploy out there on any given night in the NBA. We have seen him game-wreck games like an edge rusher in the National Football League when they played the Suns and locked up Kevin Durant. Countless games throughout his Bulls tenure here. Anytime I start talking about Caruso, I get fired up and I want to go out there and play hoops. But that's why I got him at number 5 as of right now. And I got the next 5 coming up here in just a second, but I do want to give a huge shout out to Prize Picks, today's sponsor of today's edition of the Bulls Report. If you guys head to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use promo code CLNS, you guys can get a first deposit match up to $100. I love using Prize Picks. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. It is the number one daily fantasy sports app out there. So listen, get hooked up with Prize Picks today. I love using it. You guys will too. I got that link for you guys down in the comments section and description of today's show. All you got to do, pick 2 or more players, more or less on their stat types, create a lineup, and start winning some cash today. PrizePicks.com/CLNS, code CLNS, and get hooked up today with a first deposit match up to $100. Number 6 for me is DeMar DeRozan as most important Bulls. And listen, you can make an argument right now DeMar is the second best player on this basketball team. But again, I just don't think he's important in terms of what the Bulls want to accomplish and what I want to accomplish for the rest of the season. So I got him at 6. Number 7, though, kind of similar vibe as DeMar. I got Nikola Vucevic where, honestly, I could have put Vuce last on this list because, I think the number one argument I can make with Vuce and, both DeMar DeRozan as well is that, I just don't want these two to get in the way. If you guys, earlier on in the show, I was saying Patrick Williams, Dosnmu, Coby White, they need more shot attempts. They need higher usage rate. They need to get the ball more. Well, DeMar DeRozan and Nikola Vucevic, those are the two guys that really get in the way of that because we know, and it drives me crazy, end of the game, end of fourth quarter, the Bulls still consistently run their offense through DeMar. I get it. He is still a tremendous basketball player. I love just how he's handled his Bulls tenure. He's been a professional on and off the court, but I want to see that go to Coby White. I want to see that go to Patrick Williams. So kind of the most important thing Nikola Vucevic and DeMar DeRozan can do the rest of the season, don't get in the Young Bucks' ways. But his backup center, Andre Drummond, who I have turned into one of the biggest Andre Drummond stans, I think, in the NBA because the dude's a dog, and when he gets his opportunity, when he gets his chances, puts up Wilt Chamberlain numbers. Here, look at his stats when he has started games this season. In just 28 minutes per game. Think about this. 28 minutes per game. The dude's almost averaging 14 and 17 with almost 2 blocks a game. I mean, that would be, all NBA numbers for Mr. Drum. But he's been fantastic. I actually do really love the double big lineup the Bulls have been rocking with when it's Drummond at the 4 and then Vooch at the 5. I think that's a sneaky good lineup that the Bulls do run. So keep your eyes on Drummond and Vooch, if we're talking about a lineup that could, create the Bulls some, better success down the stretch of this season. Keep your eyes on that. But number 9 for me, another young and up-and-coming guy is Dalen Terry for the Chicago Bulls. Listen, I love Dalen Terry. He's a hilarious dude. Anytime I see him, on the sidelines, it always seems like he's just laughing, chopping it up with the guys. But think we know who he is at this point. We took the chance on the athlete, and it just really hasn't performed. So I would be okay with the Bulls kind of cutting him out of the rotation and shifting towards more of a, Julian Phillips, but Dalen Terry's at 9 for me. Number 10, I want to give a huge shout out to Torrey Craig. I put Craig on this list over a guy like Javon Carter because, listen, Javon Carter started the season great. He was balling out. But, I think really Torrey Craig coming off that injury adds that 3-and-D aspect. Like if the Bulls, are making this playoff run, I think Torrey Craig will be more impactful and more important down the stretch because just those 3-and-D guys, man, they're so important on the margins. And, Torrey Craig, if he's feeling it, he could really be an impactful player on the basketball floor. But now I want to get your guys' thoughts. Will the Bulls make the playoffs this season? Give me a Y for yes, N for no down in the comment section. Not the play-in, but the actual playoffs. Will the Bulls be playing there? Probably going against the Boston Celtics in round 1. But let me know your thoughts down below. And also, guys, if you guys made it to the end of the video, first off, I want to say thank you. But also, give me a real one down below in the comments because, hey, you watch this whole thing. You watch my whole spiel. You are the definition of a real one. But we'll see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much for watching. Go Bulls.